Hey there, Patriots. Welcome back to the front lines. This is Death Watch here to give you guys more intel so you can update your personal armory and fight back against the fake news media machine. And today we're going to be discussing Dark Horse Comic reveals manga is number one of our output but represents 66% of our sales. This article comes from Bounding into the Comics, okay? So basically, Dark Horse Comics senior director of licensing, Michael Gambos, recently revealed that the publisher's manga offerings make up 66% of the company's sales, despite being only 1% of their output. During an appearance at San Diego Comic Con as part of the founding translation journalist Deb Aoki, reported that Gambos relayed during the panel, quote, "It's important to remember that manga was made for Japanese readers. At Dark Horse Comics, manga is 1% of our output, but represents 66% of our sales," right? He continues to say, Gambos' revelation comes after Embracer Group revealed that, Berserk manga was the highest selling print property in 2019, 2020, and 2021 at Dark Horse Comics. It was also the third most sold property in 2017 behind Zelda and Overwatch in 2017, and the fourth most sold property in 2018 behind Zelda, Super Mario, and World of Warcraft. Okay, not only did they reveal that Berserk was their highest selling print property, but that its rise to the top of the charts also followed a trend where the company's blacklist sales began making up a polarity of its total sales, right? And so, not going into all these statistics here, but overall, you can see here where the backlist sales, right? The backlist sales, are essentially, is what categorizes manga, and the front list sales are mainly your, American comic books, right? And so over the course from 2018 to now, you've seen where front list sales have completely declined and backlist sales have increased because people are more interested in manga. And they go on to say here, while sales at Things from Another World were flat, sales at Dark Horse Digital did see a significant bump during the lockdown in 2018, 2019. Sales were flat at 3.4 million. It significantly increased to 5.5 million in 2020 and then declined to 4.3 million in 2021. Okay. And so they go into all the different manga that is right now was like the top selling. But overall, Dark Horse Comics comes out and says, hey, we didn't expect this, but for some reason, manga is starting to become, our number one selling good, right? And we've seen this trend over the course of like 4 years to now. Okay. And so one of the reasons that a lot of people say is because simply enough, because manga is better. Okay. And I'm not one of the people to sit down and say, well, manga is better than American comic books, because it's like, no, they're both different in different ways, right? American comic books, are, especially when it comes to superhero comic books, is more about the American culture and how we view things through the American lens versus how the Japanese, right, with manga, right, they write it very much around their own culture, right? So it's completely two different clashes of culture and different, topics, right? But overall, when it comes to the story, right? When it comes to manga, right? We covered this article in my previous video. When it comes to manga, they are more open to, exploring all sorts of different topics, right? And, for the most part in America, we kind of censor a lot of stuff, right? DC tried to make the whole DC label black, where they were like, hey, we're going to try to be more edgier, right? We're going to have more edgier stuff. We're going to show nudity. We're going to show gore. But some backlash, happened because it's still Batman, right? They still have the Batman logo on it. Most kids are, still go and read. Most kids will still read Batman, right? Even though it clearly said, hey, 18 and up, right? It said, hey, this is DC label black, 18 and up, recommended, okay? But either way, people still got upset for showing some nudity, and it's stupid. It was stupid, okay? But I still agree with what they were trying to do, right? Manga, however, they really don't have that issue. They can just kind of create whatever they really want, right? It's just mainly like, hey, if it doesn't sell, it doesn't sell. It'll get axed immediately. Here in America, we kind of dance around it like, oh, it didn't sell in the first few weeks, and we might release some more issues here and there, but we'll keep reviving it until something happens with that IP or whatever, right? We'll try to constantly reboot it, rebrand it, and all this other crap, right? Whereas with the manga industry, if it doesn't sell within the first, maybe what 2 or 3 issues, they'll completely axe the story and kill it off immediately, right? But what this article openly talks about is diversity of genres, right? Part of the answer lies in the huge volume and subject matter diversity of manga creations, right? Different manga are aimed at different audiences and are formally categorized as shonen, for young boys, shoujo, young girls, seinen, adult men, and josei, adult women. For example, one can choose from a family-friendly Doraemon series or the murky action of Gogo 13, the post-apocalyptic drama Seven Seeds, and innumerable science fiction works such as those produced by a long-standing Gundam franchise. Some of these are deeply engrossing epics comparable in scope and quality to Frank Hubert's Dune, right? Araki's JoJo Bizarre Adventures, which has become notorious and influential as a result of its genre-busting nature, right? So you got a lot of stuff, right? I probably will. I don't know. I don't want to make a. I was thinking about it. Maybe making a video about how I hate isekais. I really don't like isekais. I think it is one of the worst trends in manga history. Okay, there was a time period where isekais were okay. There's some isekais I look at and I'm like, this is trash, but it's funny, right? They somehow managed to kind of change it up the formula a little bit to where it's kind of digestible. But overall, I think isekai is one of the worst trends in current day manga, right? And I think it's one of the reasons why, if manga were to ever fall off, it's going to be because of isekais. Okay, that's my personal opinion. But overall, they also go down to say cultural appropriation done well, right? Another reason for manga success is that it emerges during a period in which there was a lot of interest in content produced by cultures other than one's own. It is not solely a modern phenomenon. The medium of comics originated picture books produced in the 12th and 13th century. After the Meiji Restoration, Japanese artists began taking more inspirations from foreign sources, varied French artists, but mainly, not to get too into that, but mainly, cultural appropriation, right? The Japanese are not afraid to explore other cultures. Okay, they're right. Chad from Bleach, right? He's an Afro Hispanic. Okay, they're not afraid to have black characters in their series, right? They're not afraid to have Chinese characters, other cultures, right? They're not afraid to write stories taking place, right, like Berserk. Okay, Berserk takes place in European, in European medieval times. Okay, all the characters are European. Okay, they're not afraid to have stories set in completely different time periods or countries that are not Japanese, right? Here in America, right? A writer comes out and says, "Hey, I'm gonna create a story about a kid living in China." Oh, you can't do that, right? Only Chinese people can write about stories about other Chinese people, right? Artists are coming out who draw black characters are being attacked for saying, "Hey, you're not a black guy. You're not allowed to draw black characters, or you're not a black artist, right?" And all this other crap, right? It's completely stupid. Okay. Other things, hyper politicization, right? We talked about this in my previous video. A lot of these new progressive writers are just writing, self-inserting their own personal political beliefs into these stories and saying, "Hey, um, if you don't like it, go buy something else," right? They don't care. They go on Twitter and they blast people for not agreeing with their political beliefs, right? They're all, again, far left progressives. And so when they get into these industries, people are like, "Hey, you see your writers are on Twitter attacking people, attacking the fans, attacking your potential customers. Are you guys going to do anything about it? You're not? Okay, well then I'm not going to buy anything from your industries, right? Get woke, go broke." And it's starting to hurt people. Okay, it's starting to hurt a lot of these companies, right? And then changing course for a perfect storm. These challenges are further exacerbated by the rising cost of these publications, right? And so overall, manga is also kind of cheaper, right? You get more bang for your buck when it comes to manga, especially volumes, right? That is kind of true. That is really true. So overall, why are we seeing manga outcompeting American comic books, right? Because the stories are kind of better. The characters and the characterization of the characters are a lot better, right? You can actually identify with these characters and actually follow these characters and actually, see yourself in the same situation, right? That's the main topic, right? Do the readers emphasize, empathize with your characters, right? Can they see themselves in the place of your the character that you're drawing here, right? You're trying to, the story, right? And a lot of people can, right? Whereas in American comic books, right, it's like no, because clearly the character that I'm reading is a self insert of the reader, and and the reader is clearly an entitled narcissist who lives in an echo chamber of their own imagination. Okay, there's really nothing there for me to like empathize with, right? So, you know, this is going again. Comic books are going down in the dumps. Manga is at an all-time high. Anime is at an all-time high. And this trend is going to continue to go until either anime, until American comic books completely fires all these people and hires more diverse, right? Really, real diverse people, right? Writers with actual good stories to tell, and that might save them in the future. But overall, manga seems to be taking over, right? Because the only kind of like downside to the Japanese medium is that it's meant for the Japanese audience itself, right? Which is good for them because they don't have to worry about all the Western sentimentalities and all the censorship and all this other crap, right? Even though we are seeing it through localization, right? With all these American brands trying to purchase manga, trying to get rights to publish manga in the English language, right? They're slowly trying to localize it and censor it, right? But overall, as long as it stays in Japan, nothing's really going to happen to it, right? People can still just download it directly from different websites or get it directly from, learn Japanese and then or learn how to read what hitakana or whatever it's called, kanji, learn how to read it, and then just buy it directly from Japan. Go visit Japan, load up a suitcase full of manga, bring it back to the States. Hey, now you don't have to worry about censorship. You got it straight from the source, right? But overall, like, share, subscribe, stay safe, stay sane, be vigilant, and I'll see you Patriots on the battlefield.